Hi everyone, welcome back. For those of you who've been watching the different series, as you know, we started this project in order to figure out if it was profitable to mine cryptocurrency. We started off with just an explanation of what we were looking to do, the different criteria of what we wanted to accomplish and document so that we knew, was it profitable to actually mine, whether it be on a desktop, on a fancier rig or server, or even using cloud mining. So this is episode 3 of Cloud Mining with Genesis Mining. And if you've been following cryptocurrency the past week or two, there's been a lot of activity, a lot of it not as good as we would like it to be. As you can see here from these current charts, if I go back to 1 week, we're down 15% on Bitcoin. And of course, the other popular coins are following right in line. It looks like Litecoin took a little bit bigger of a hit, but they've, played the roller coaster game in the past week or so. Now, what's important to point out is this is how the coin affects the profitability, whether the coin goes up in value, down in value, how many transactions there are. There's just a lot of factors. And when we review the numbers today, we're going to take a look at some of those factors a little bit more carefully to see how that affects what the report tells us. But in general, right now the way the coin is moving is a little bit negative for what we're trying to accomplish. So let's jump right to the numbers and let's get an updated status on how we're doing. As you remember, we had made some automated functionality in this spreadsheet that went out and grabbed the current price of Ethereum. And so this $1.29 that we've earned so far is reflecting the current price of Ethereum. I'm going to click on the Ethereum tab. And as we can see here, the current price is $2.53. And that just got pulled in within the past, few minutes. So it's definitely affecting, our numbers here. And we'll also notice that there's an extra couple columns on this side, which we'll go into in a minute. So going back to our forecast for the cloud mining, we originally said that we would make $5.39 a month, and being already halfway through the month here, pretty much, we're at $1.29. So we're way under the numbers that we were hoping for. And so that's going to be an issue as to whether we want to reevaluate this number, or as we mentioned before, because the price of Ethereum changed, when we purchased this plan for $60, Ethereum was at a higher value. And therefore, these numbers of the 129 broken down by day over here would actually be worth more in US currency if the number didn't go down. And maybe we'll play with that a little bit and fill in the number by hand just to kind of get an assessment as to what kind of difference it really made, if any. But definitely, we're behind schedule. And, what I said at the beginning where the coin affected the outcome is definitely a good percentage of what's going on. And then the rest of it may just be a combination of the forecasting tool that we used, which I think at that time was My Cryptocurrency, was a little bit high. And we did find some other mining tools that we showed in the last episode that helped us to bring the numbers down to a more realistic scale. So that combination of things made our predictions here off. And therefore, that explains why it didn't work. Not because of Genesis Mining or any other fancy factor that we can come up with as being the root cause. Until we get some hardware in here where we test 2 megahash and see what our average daily result is against what we're getting from Genesis, then we can't fairly say that, Genesis is part of the reason. So I'm going to go back to this Ethernet tab, and I'm going to explain a little bit about what I did here with these extra columns. So while watching these numbers over the past few days really look pretty sad as far as, reaching the goal that we originally had. And I think the goal was somewhere around 15 cents when we first did our estimates. And the numbers just weren't coming in at that, level. And so I said, let me just try real quick to change one of the settings on Genesis Mining. And what I thought was going to be mining BTC, when you go to mining allocation right here, and you click, in our case, Ethereum, I guess my mouse is going a little crazy there, and you kind of reduce the amount of Ethereum this way, and it would do BTC Auto. Now, without reading the details, I said, let me actually try that, and so I reduced the amount of Ethereum by 25% in my allocation, and of course that made BTC Auto, actually it was this way, there we go, it made BTC Auto 25%. So that was me being a little bit lazy and not paying attention to the details as to what that auto actually means. So let's just jump over to the site real quick. And let's go to customer service. And down here under allocation, we have how does allocation work? And what it really does is whatever coin you're mining, it will actually trade that coin automatically into the auto coin. So in other words, if you're mining Ethereum, which is what we were doing, and we picked 25% Bitcoin, then it was actually going to take whatever we mined in Ethereum, 25% of that, and trade it at the time, let's say, X value for BTC. And it's going to trade it at the exchange rate of the day. So the magic there is, they may be making a couple of extra dollars because they're actually going to have those coins in stock, and other people who are auto allocating, they're just kind of shuffling the coins that they've earned as a whole. So that really didn't help the numbers for a couple of days because it made it spend a little bit of money for the exchange rate in order to get the BTC. So I'm going to just close that and minimize this. And so as you can see here, these few days had this BTC along with this Ethereum, and we just kind of did a calculation here to figure out the BTC. We jumped over here and added the same functionality to grab the current BTC pricing, and then added one more column, which is a combined column, so we knew how much each day was earned. Now you can see it didn't throw us off by too much because none of these numbers are that great, but the number's pretty consistently just under 10 cents a day. So we'll go back to the cloud here, and again, that's how we got to this 129. This didn't affect our results, luckily, because we were trying to be scientific about it, so to speak, but it did definitely waste a very small percentage. Now, the last time I checked this was on the 12th. It's the 15th. So let's go grab some new numbers and see how we did. And I think at this point, with the numbers that we're seeing, there's not going to be a lot of change or variety in the numbers. They're going to be the same, very small, just under 10-cent number. There's not going to be a surprise factor that we're going to go, oh, wow, it's actually, 14 cents today. The only way it's going to be 14 cents is if the value changes, and then at that point, all of the values are going to change. So here we are, we just pasted in from the 13th, and you can see, 0.0906. So again, very close numbers, very consistent numbers. I'm not sure if it should be that consistent until we mine with an equivalent hash rate and some physical hardware in order to compare. Let's drop in the numbers here. And this day was just barely stronger, 9.5 cents. So, given those two numbers, we know we're not expecting a big number in the front, $1.48. So at this point, we're not going to hit this projected number in this month, let alone, in theory, in the rest of the months, because we're already going to be so far behind. So let's take a quick reevaluation as to what we should be predicting we're going to hit on a daily income. So we go back to my crypto buddy, and we can see we've put the 2 hash rate here, or 2 mega hash rather, and right now monthly is 279. So I'm doing this with another 2 references. That way we can try to get more accurate and figure out, what number should we be putting in this place. So there's a new one here, badmofo.github.io, and then Ethereum-mining calculator. We put 2 mega hash rate, and you can see here 271. So the first calculator tells us 279, second calculator 271, third calculator, let's just click calculate on this thing. This one tells us actually 369. So Coin Wars is a little bit higher than the other two. And then let's actually go and find one more, which was our original site, just so we can, have that final additional comparison. And this is the one we originally used, which came in a little bit high. So we are on Bitcoin. We actually want Ethereum. We want 2 mega hash, 0 power. And this is 343 a month. So between Coin Wars at 369 and Crypto Compare at 343, they're on the higher side. And if we look at this calculator, we said 271. And if we look at my Crypto Buddy, we said, where does that go? 280. So rather than go with these high numbers, let's just go with the low numbers and be ultra conservative. And let's just put $2.80. Now, at $2.80, we just killed the projected rate to be 6%. Now, for 6%, was it really worth paying the $60 in advance to hopefully get back 6% in 24 months? Now, if the coin keeps going up over the course of time, these numbers will improve. But right now, in month number 1, we're negative as far as what our projections are. So, not real excited about that aspect of it, but we know the real deal at this point, and we can see the factors that are affecting the profitability. And we also know that we used a calculator that was maybe a bit more aggressive in the pricing. Let's actually drop that 369 that it mentioned on Crypto Compare, and that tells you 40%. So, of course, 40% sounds a lot nicer. Let me find that calculator again, make sure I didn't say the wrong number. 343. So I did say the wrong number. Let's go back and update this. 3.43 and 30%, which is still, a number that you say, okay, that's pretty good. Not as great as 105%, but it's still a positive number. So at this point, we're just going to have to ride this out and see as we go along how it does. If it's going to be more profitable or less profitable, it's just a matter of time before we can tell. Now, the other part we wanted to look at was, as we mentioned, the price of Ethereum. And at the time that I first did the research for this and we looked at the calculators, and I actually purchased a little bit of Ethereum, it was at 343, and today we're at 256. And you can see the numbers here, what they are. Let's change this to 343 by hand. And these go up a little bit to those numbers we were talking about 15 cents. We were looking at 15 cents originally, and the number's a little bit closer to that 15 cents. If we go back to the forecast cloud, we can see it went up about 50 cents. So at $2, we're a little bit closer to that number of the 343 to maybe a $4 range, because we're around that halfway point in the month, but not enough to say, hey, we totally missed the target because of the price. And you can see it actually just flipped. The application just went out and updated the number we just overwrote. So, it's as simple as that, actually. As you're sitting there watching that go down, literally as the market changes for the coin, these numbers will fluctuate. One other thing to take into consideration is if, we did this with, let's say, any coin when it was in its infancy, like Bitcoin when it was, $1, $2, $10, $100, and we were just collecting some coin and hopefully not cashing out of too much of it, that coin's increase in value really made all of this go to shame because the number just was astronomical. So unfortunately, the numbers are already high for the coins, And so it's going to be a little bit more of that slow and steady growth. I don't expect that we're going to see either of these double in price in the next year. It's possible, and I'm not here to be an analyst and say this is going to happen or not going to happen, but I do believe that it won't double from where they are today. I think it will increase, but not necessarily at that rate. So having said that, I think that's pretty much all we can do today, is just kind of update our numbers in the spreadsheet, see that we are falling a little bit behind on our projections, and just kind of cross our fingers that overall it's going to go up in the long run and then make those numbers look better. So with that, I think it's time to say goodbye. If you have any comments, drop them below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe and continue watching my series, please click on the subscribe button. And don't forget to check out the other part of the cloud mining project, which is desktop mining. We launched the first episode the other day. We'll have a couple more episodes coming up. We've done some mining on servers. We've done mining on desktops. Probably a little too much of this desktop mining for the payout, which is really non-existent. And we're also going to be continuing to work on creating a small rig. So thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.